Tonight's talk will be given by Pavamana Prabhu. Where is Pavamana Prabhu? Pavamana Prabhu is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada since the 70s. And tonight he'll speak, carrying on with our this month's theme on mercy in Krishna consciousness.
The topic is news to me.
Oh, I see. Oh, really? Okay, well,
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Vanadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Vanadhari Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamanatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Vanadhari Giri Vanadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Vanadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Vanadhari Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Chinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvasesa Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarne. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idang tu te guyatamam Idam tu te guyatamam Pavakshami anasuyave Pavakshami anasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam Jnanam vijnana sahitam Yajgatva mokshase shubhat Yajgatva mokshase shubhat. Translation. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Arjun, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. As a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Quote, the messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge, unquote. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who was engaged in Krishna consciousness, and gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna in the association of the devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this 9th chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. And in the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the seventh and eighth chapters are specifically related to devotional service, and because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the ninth chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now this first verse has specific significance. Knowledge, idam jnanam, refers to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshiping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. At the time when one's heart is cleared of the material contamination, one can understand this science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between the activities of the body and spiritual activities by which one understands that he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now, in chapters 9 and 10, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. The Sanskrit word anusuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately. Because they are envious of Krishna, their commentaries are useless. The commentary given by the devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. For one to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. So, we are talking about things that are, we shall say, confidential. There are secrets. And I wanted to make this discussion tonight about secrecy. It's a very interesting topic, things that go on that we're not aware of. And so that's why we go to school. There are many different sciences and different endeavors to understand things that are not obvious. We go to get enlightened to schools and colleges to get the higher education, which unfortunately comes to the point sometimes of getting educated just to get hired, right? Higher education. So, what is enlightenment? Why are we human beings? Are we really curious about what's really going on? Or are we just absorbed in the normal everyday activities and not really that interested? Some people have a great interest in it. They become scholars, or they have discussion groups to speculate about the nature of the world and so on. Some, like I say, go to college to understand maybe medical science, how's the body work, Maybe they become an engineer and learn about different material properties of matter and how to put them together to make something, right? So we also have in the spiritual line, we have the scholars, the Gyanis, those who study pretty much for the sake of having that knowledge, not for any other particular ultimate purpose. So we have to examine what are we going after? What are we trying to do? What is the result of our inquiry? What are we going to use it for? So sometimes we see there's some religious institutions who want to pontificate, and they become very dramatic, and sometimes they cry, and they raise the emotions, and become very popular, and fill up the mega churches with rich donors, and so on and so on. The real purpose of knowledge is to understand Krishna. Nothing else. Not for our own aggrandizement that I'm a big scholar or whatever. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to be a scholar. We have our resident scholar, everyone knows, Devotee. But his knowledge is of Krishna. He's an expert in knowledge of Krishna. So that's very welcome. We want to hear about Krishna. That's why we have this association. And that's why we're distributing these books, even if you don't come to the temple. Okay, we have Srila Prabhupada's books, and we have lectures and other things that are available so we can hear about Krishna. Okay, so this idea of secrecy, the idea of something that's beyond ordinary. Maybe we have different relationships. You may be married, or maybe you have a girlfriend, boyfriend. Back in the day that the Beatles had a song, listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Right? Okay. So there's exclusivity, right? Something that you have that he doesn't know, or she doesn't know, right? So in Krishna consciousness, there's kind of the same sort of thing. If you go to the spiritual world, in Krishna Loka, where Krishna's planet, okay, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they don't exactly see him like that. They know, but they're not concerned because they have a personal relationship with him. It's very intimate, okay. In Krishna Loka, the idea of awe and veneration of God, as they have in the Vaikuntha planets, the other planets, is absent there. And there's a kind of sweetness of the relationship, rather than simply awe and veneration and knowing that we are servants, right? Which is perfectly satisfying in Vaikuntha Loka. Don't misunderstand. But there's a sweetness in these different types of relationships, right? There's something that the devotees who have a conjugal relationship with Krishna have that the others don't necessarily have, okay? And the relationship is different, okay? Krishna has servants, but then he has friends, and he has parents, and he has a conjugal relationship with his gopi friends. Okay, so these different kinds of relationship, this is very, very confidential. This is what Lord Chaitanya gave us. If you won't find this information in any other sampradaya, this is all very confidential, the highest understanding of love of God, okay, freely given to anyone. This is unprecedented, Okay, so we're getting this confidential information by Lord Chaitanya's special mercy. Okay, this is his special contribution. So when it comes to secrecy, okay, there's a reason. And maybe the purpose may be on the material plane, maybe good, or maybe more sinister. The idea of secrecy in the government, maybe there's a spy agency that you want to get, some information that, no one's supposed to know, right? Or it might be, your wife asks you, am I fat? Are you going to tell the truth? So there's secrecy, and then there's falsity, right? And all based upon someone knowing something and someone else not knowing something. Okay. So if there's God, why is he not walking around on the street? Hey, I'm God, man. It's like, hey, recognize me, man. But why is this? We're all trying to spread love of God. Why God does not walk down the street and show himself? Actually, 5,000 years ago, he did come to this world. And he did things that were impossible for anyone else. And this temple the theme is Giri Govardhan, lifting Govardhan Hill, on his little pinky of his left hand for a week. And, something that ordinary people couldn't do. But still, only a handful of people understood who he actually was. Okay? If you want to have association of some maybe very wealthy person, maybe Jeff Bezos or Mr. Zuckerberg or, some big CEO, you just barge in on his office, right? Hi, I'm so-and-so. No, throw him out, right? There has to be some introduction. You have to understand who this person is, what he does, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and find some way to ingratiate yourself so that he might find some reason to want to have you in a relationship. Maybe you come in, you've got some invention that you want, that you think would be beneficial for his company. Maybe you have some particular expertise that you think would be beneficial. So in the material world where we are, we basically have gone AWOL in our service to Krishna. We decided we wanted to come to a place where we didn't have to take dictation, or we didn't have to do something for Krishna. We wanted to make our own little, fiefdom in some place in the material world. So, kind of like the world is actually compared to a prison, right? We don't think that we're in prison, but it's kind of like that. So if you're in prison and you want to get out of prison, well, maybe if you ingratiate yourself to the governor, maybe I give you clemency. It's sort of kind of like that, in a sense, because we're asking for Krishna to forgive us. Yeah, all the different religions, we're asking for forgiveness. We can do confession or whatever, okay? Because we have this desire to enjoy ourself and not share it with Krishna. Okay, we've forgotten completely about the real situation. And if you go to practically every religion in the world, I don't want to call anybody out, but everyone is thinking what's going to be beneficial for me, right? We'd sit in the front row and give a big donation on the plate, wave that bill in the air, I'm putting all this money in this, in the plate, right? So everyone will know that I'm I'm a great donor, you see, or I'm a great supporter. We want to be famous. We want to have recognition. Okay, so it's all basically centered around ourself. Okay, even in Hinduism, the idea is, you can go to some heavenly planet, maybe you can go to the moon, or some of these Indraloka, Chandraloka, right? You follow some Vedic procedure that gives you the chance of going to some really wonderful heavenly place. So what does that have to do with God? What does that have to do with Krishna? Really, I'm sorry, not much. Okay? So in Krishna consciousness, it's the other way around. We are all servants of Krishna, and our service is meant to please him. And if somehow or other you get some recognition, well, that's nice. Krishna was inciting Arjuna to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. And he basically told Arjuna, he said, you can fight or not. It doesn't really matter. I've already arranged that everyone here is going to die. Everyone. Okay. So you can take part and be a hero, or you can run off to the forest and meditate, whatever you want to do. Okay. So Arjuna decided to surrender after hearing Bhagavad Gita. So in the same way, okay, so if you become a devotee of Krishna, you might find yourself, becoming, getting notoriety. Maybe your business will thrive more. And sometimes the opposite happens. Sometimes people are afraid to become a devotee of Vishnu because somehow or other he might make your business fail. Srila Prabhupada, he was, by an astrologer, they said that he was to be the richest person in India. But in the end, his business failed. And so, penniless, he came to America. Practically penniless. Okay. So, in order to ingratiate ourselves to Krishna, it's not about us, it's about doing the best service for Krishna. And then he will recognize you as being very serious. Oh, this person is really serious about, about me. And so it begins a reciprocation, right? We have devotees going out distributing literature to the public. Not easy. Who wants to pick buy a Hare Krishna book? It's not like they're, I'm going out to the street, I want to see one of these Hare Krishnas so I can buy a book. They might be going somewhere to enjoy, and this person's going to, you're bothering me. Why are you bothering me, right? So any kind of sales, there's rejection, right? And it's part of the territory. It is not easy, okay? Especially since most of us come here to the material world, we don't want Krishna. That's why we're here. It's like going into a prison, say, if you're really a model prisoner, and if you change your whole mentality, someday maybe you can get out into the free world. Well, that's not very popular, especially when you got all your homies around and other people who are, have a criminal mentality. So it is not easy. But when you surrender yourself, when you in a helpless way, then Krishna can fill in the blank. That's the greatest benediction. Okay? So one of our congregation, Mataji, Subhadra, took a vow in the inspiration of her spiritual master, Vaisheshika, to distribute a book, Bhagavad Gita, every day for 100 days. Okay? She's not living in the temple. Okay? She's been around for a long time. Okay? But how inspiring. She did it. Every single day. Okay? And our devotees also here, they go out every single day, or I think most days. And Krishna fills in the blank. He can send somebody because he's in control of it, sitting in everyone's heart. Right? whatever we're doing, no matter if it's for Krishna or not, we are actually not doing anything. It's our false ego convincing us that we're doing something, right? I sit up here and I open my mouth and Krishna inspires me to say something. I don't know what I'm going to say from one moment to the next. You know, some churches, you know, they write out a sermon and they recite what they've written. And I, you know, like I say, I sit up here and I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, but, you know, open my mouth and Krishna put some words in there, and the end of so many minutes, you know, it's over. But everything that we do, every kind of skill, every kind of capability that we have, it's all borrowed plumes. It's all coming from Krishna. And it's all being carried out externally to us. Okay? So if you have enough pious activities, if you have some good karma, maybe you become a rock star or a sports star or something like that, something that you can, you know, be proud of. But it's all borrowed plumes. We're all getting our inspiration and our talent coming from Krishna. Okay? So we're all dependent on Krishna. So a pure devotee is surrendered because he feels that he's incapable. He's not proud. You think Prabhupada was proud? Wow, I'm big guru now. Just the opposite. Prabhupada thought, I am the servant of all these people who are coming to me. He says, I'm not the master. But he has to take that position as a spiritual master in order to guide his disciples. Okay. So even amongst the devotees, there were some that had very close personal exchanges with Srila Prabhupada. And the danger is that we begin to think, oh, he's just like me. That's the danger. And we unfortunately had many of his servants left. Okay. But that's the nature of Krishna consciousness. If we want to get close to Krishna, we have to be in sync. We have to feel that we are unqualified. I don't know where that word came from. It just came out of we have to feel that we're dependent on Krishna. That's one of the items of surrender. Okay? That we cannot do anything without Krishna's help. Okay? And our enjoyment, all of our enjoyment, what do we enjoy? We enjoy eating nice Krishna prasadam. We're playing on instruments and dancing and, you know, having a great time with Krishna. Okay? When we do these things without Krishna, you may get some temporary pleasure, but then it gets dry. Right? So Krishna consciousness is all about being instrumental in doing something that Krishna is going to enjoy. And so we enjoy together, just like a husband and wife. The relationship is in the archetypical fashion is that the husband's the enjoyer and the wife is supporting the husband, and they both enjoy. But we know sometimes that doesn't happen in this modern day. But in relation to Krishna, we're all part of Krishna. This is what we don't really understand. We haven't been taught. If my hand is part of my body, is my hand going to act independently? Try to enjoy the food or whatever? No. The hand's duty is to feed the stomach, and then the hand automatically gets the enjoyment. This is the analogy. But we've been in this world for so long, we're so conditioned that it's kind of hard to grasp how we're part of Krishna. And the unfortunate thing is there's some philosophies that are going around to think that, well, I'm part of Krishna, so I'm Krishna. Not quite. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are my parts and parcels, but they're separate. We're independent, okay? And that independence, Krishna doesn't mess with, okay? Because if he wants to have love, how can love be mandated. It has to be voluntary. Otherwise, he's created robots. Oh, what's good about a robot? Okay. So what Krishna really wants, this is the essence of Krishna consciousness is called bhakti. What is bhakti? Right? You do something for Krishna with a little or a lot of feeling. And I'm cooking something for Krishna, but it's for Krishna. I want him to enjoy. I want to make this, add a little extra ingredient here or there. Go through more trouble making something that's a little more difficult to make. Whatever it is, trying your best to do something to increase Krishna's pleasure. Okay? And what you find is, when you're performing actual service, Prabhupada says here, you are on the liberated platform. Okay, we're in the material world, we still have our jobs and our families and this and that, and we have all these things. But that's on the platform of pure devotional service because you're trying to please Krishna. That is the essence of Bhakti Yoga. Okay? Not the rituals, all these things where, come to the temple, we chant, we play drums, and that's not it. It's pleasing Krishna, serenading Krishna. We're enjoying that Krishna is being pleased, right? That's the essence of bhakti. But what does Krishna have? Everything. What doesn't he have? Those in the material world who are not trying to please him, who are not in a loving relationship. He wants to experience this reciprocation of love. And he knows everything. He knows every heart. He knows everything. He knows past, present, and future. Right? So he wants that reciprocation from us. And that's what Krishna consciousness is leading us to do. Okay. Now there are some devotees and monks here at the temple. They're full-time serving Krishna. Their whole idea is that when I'm doing something, I'm doing it for Krishna, right? And it's very congenial, advantageous to live in a temple. I don't anymore, but I once did. And so that's your whole life is dedicated to serving Krishna. Okay, so it's streamlined. There's always, the grass is always greener on the other side. If only I'd, right? And sometimes the brahmacharis eventually get married, as I did. But there's always a fondness for those days when there was not all these other things that you had to worry about. So wherever you are, it doesn't matter, actually. It's more complicated when you live outside, but doing something with the idea of pleasing Krishna, that is Bhakti Yoga. That is the highest yoga there is. Okay? It doesn't matter, big or small. Lord Ramachandra was building a bridge to Lanka to find his wife Sita. So Hanuman, he had huge capability, throwing huge stones into the water, and Lord Ramachandra was making them float. And he was criticizing a little spider. He said, "Hey, get out of the way. I'm throwing big rocks. All you can do is, shove a little sand." And Lord Ramachandra chastised him. No, he's doing the best he can. You're doing the best you can. So it's the little things, okay? Someone brings something, you go to the store, you buy some boga or something, or some flowers, and you bring it to Krishna. It doesn't matter how big. You can be a millionaire and give millions of dollars to Krishna. And maybe you don't have much, but Krishna appreciates it all. There was a story of Sudama Brahman. Everyone know that story of Sudama Brahman, okay? Sudama Brahman was Krishna's friend in his childhood. They both went to the school together. So one night, they were asked to go out and get some firewood, and they got lost in the forest, and there was a storm, and it was very difficult, and they were worried about them. They'd send out a search party to find them. Okay. So later on in life, Krishna moved to Dwarka, and he was king, and he had so many wives, and big kingdom. But his friend Sudama was a Brahmin, and lived very, very frugally. In fact, they practically were starving. So his wife was saying, "Oh, why don't you go see Krishna? Maybe he'll give you something to help you out or something." No, I don't want to bother Krishna. No, please, Okay, but I got to bring something. So they had a little bit of chipped rice. Okay, if you know what chipped rice is, okay, chipped rice is the cheapest food you can buy. Okay, rice is little grains like this, but if it gets broken, okay, you sift it out, and you can end up with those broken pieces. That's chipped rice. Okay, so he put a little bit of chipped rice in a handkerchief, and the cartoon with the stick and the whatever. Okay, so he goes to see Krishna, right? And Krishna welcomes him and sits him down. He takes a chamar, he's fanning him, And the goddess of fortune is like, "Who is this guy? I'm so glad to see you. We had childhood memories, and we got lost in the forest together. I remember all those things. They were very close." So the goddess of fortune is like, "Well, I'm going to have to, benedict him or whatever." But he never asked Krishna for anything. He didn't ask anything. So, "So glad to see you, so okay, So Krishna didn't give him anything. But he was just so glad to see Krishna. They were in love with each other. Okay. So he goes, travels home, and he goes back to his village, and it's like, "Wait a minute, where's my house? I don't recognize anything here. And who is that? Wow. Beautiful. She's beautiful. Is that you? Is that you, my wife?" Yeah. So he's thinking, Krishna sends all this. So he didn't ask for anything, but Krishna gave everything. Okay? So these are tender moments. Okay? This is confidential information. Okay? Krishna, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, said, don't give these teachings to those who don't have faith. Okay? Secrecy. Okay? There's confidentiality. Okay? So this is the thing. Krishna's a person, just like we have feelings and he has feelings. And he's the most tender-hearted of, he's the most of everything. So the more we can try to please Krishna in some small way, it's not, we don't have to give up everything, unless you want to. But this is the essence of bhakti, and this is what Krishna is looking for, and this is what will give us the greatest satisfaction. Okay? There's lots of other things that are pulling our ears and our eyes and our senses to do, especially here in the United States and California and San Diego and Pacific Beach. Okay? All kinds of enjoyable things that don't lead to satisfaction. And we've kind of been there and done that, right? So this is the essence of why we're here and what we're doing. It's making Krishna's temple nice, offering nice prasadam, nice flowers, and everything. When I lived in Bombay in 1972, we were living on this land, very, very, it was just an open field. And Srila Prabhupada promised Krishna that he would build a temple. Okay, so we were living very simply, to say the least. Okay, hardly had enough food to eat. And Prabhupada said, if you simply bring nice flowers and make a nice offering, bhoga offerings to Krishna, Krishna will send as much Lakshmi as you need. Now, if you go to Bombay today, that area where the temple is the most expensive real estate on the planet. Believe it or not. Okay. Back in the day, okay, it was sort of like La Jolla in the early, maybe in the 30s or 40s. Okay. Juhu Beach was, there were houses there were some hotels, but it was, it was pretty much undeveloped. Okay. But because the devotees did what Prabhupada said, and Krishna sent all the Lakshmi that was needed to build that beautiful temple. Okay. So this is the thing, that Krishna is not, some concept. It's not that we're imagining, Krishna, or that Krishna is, a figurehead for something more, something unborn within Krishna or something like that. Krishna's the person. And that's what we're trying to do here. Okay? And the smallest thing, even Prabhupada had in his early days, some bum came in and, stocked the bathroom with some toilet rolls. And Prabhupada said, just see, his devotional service has just begun. So according to our means, okay, the whole idea is that we are performing the topmost yoga. Because all the yogis and the jnanis and just other people, there's nothing intrinsically wrong, but they're not pleasing Krishna. It's something for me, right? So that's what we're trying to do here, the topmost rung of devotional service, and it doesn't matter from where you came from. You may have done, the worst things on earth. Okay? We should not do bad things, and we should, if we're doing it, we should stop. But sometimes it's a little difficult. But the whole idea is that by pleasing Krishna, you get full satisfaction. And that's what we're looking for. It's what Chaitanya said, the Sankirtan is, give us a taste for the bliss and satisfaction that we're all looking for. Right? We're all looking for pleasure. Now we know where it comes from. Okay? So I just want to say, thank yourself for coming here. Thank yourself. You did the right thing. And you walk away thinking, I'm really glad I went. I'm really glad I came to the temple. I really feel good. Krishna is there. He's right there with you every moment of every day. Okay. So the closer we get to Krishna in these ways, the more life takes on a wonderful flavor. But that's what we're all looking for. Okay? The bodily satisfaction will come and go. You can't stop it, right? We're all going to get old and get disease and have troubles and everything. That's a given because we have a material body. But within ourselves, that's who we really are. We're just reflections of Krishna, to appreciate the glories and the wonderful qualities of Krishna. And we're people. We're not some nebulous, glob, right? We're a person. Everyone is a wonderful person because we're all part of Krishna, who is wonderful. It's just when we forget Krishna, then other things happen. They're not so good. Anyway, all right. So, is there any comments or questions or rebuttals or? Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pavamana Prabhu. You made the comparison of the spider and Hanuman. Maybe you've heard the saying that Krishna doesn't see what you give, but he sees what you hold back. Can you comment something on that?
Krishna sees what you give and sees what you hold back. That's true. That's true. He knows everything. Okay? When Krishna inspires you, okay, you can do anything for Krishna. we have our own desires. We have our own level of surrender, right? I'll surrender to this point, right? Or I'll surrender if we make conditions, right? I'll surrender, if my business increases, I'll get more money, or whatever it might be. But it's a matter of our personal situation, right? We see someone, sometimes they have a lot, but they can't give much, okay? But sometimes they don't have that taste yet, okay? We find there's a lot of people they're overextended. That's one thing. We think, oh, they must have a lot of money. They got this big house and everything. Yeah, but they got everything mortgaged to the hilt, okay? But even the smallest thing, Krishna accepts, and especially in this world, especially in the modern day, a little thing, even if someone doesn't give a donation, even if they, like when Gunagai was here, Gunagai Maharaj, he wanted devotees to stand out on the corner there and wave to people. If someone thinks anything good about the devotees in any way, they taste them prashadam, oh, this tastes pretty good. That's huge. Their spiritual life has just took a huge jump, right? If they see devotees doing something, oh, I don't like the chanting, oh, that's kind of cool, whatever. Okay, anything favorable, that's a start. That's the beginning, okay? So we're going out and distributing literature and trying to enthuse people. We try to give them a good impression. We try to have them understand what we're trying to do, but we're not trying to criticize anyone. We don't criticize anyone. We're not, going to try to convert somebody. Oh, religion, my religion is better than yours or anything like that. We encourage them wherever they are, okay? So if someone is capable of giving, a big donation, look what George Harrison did, okay? One guy popularized Krishna consciousness all over the world. If you go on any YouTube video of George Harrison singing My Sweet Lord, read the comments and cry your eyes out. And people are just, I don't believe in God, but I believe in George. They all see the love that he had for Krishna. My sweet Lord, I really want to see you. I really want to be with you. Right? Okay. How much he affected so many people. So in a big way, he donated the whole estate in London. Later on, the devotees paid him back. But anyway, he donated the whole estate to Prabhupada. Okay. So he had the means. Okay. So that's big. Okay. Maybe we don't have that much money but we do have members of our congregation who are extremely generous. They're, making big donations. We have the devotees sponsoring a feast, not cheap. Okay, so whatever you can do, it doesn't really matter. It's from your heart. That's the idea. It's that our relationship with Krishna, and you will go home with a smile on your face, and you go, "This is what I want." Okay, this is what religion's all about, and it's also between each other. It's relationships that we have. If you go to a church, if the congregation is tight knit, it'll be extremely successful. So it's also relationships between each other that help somebody, or enthuse somebody, or appreciate somebody, right? All these things are very personal. Okay, so that's what keeps us coming back. That's what keeps our congregation going. Because you're feeling something. You've got something that you can go home with, and it's like, yeah, I'm part of this temple. I'm part of this congregation, right? And that's what keeps us all together. So, thank you very much. Is there any other comment? All glories to Srila Prabhupada.